The project shown in this video can be found in the textbook Technical Drawing 101 with AutoCAD, available from SDC Publications.
In this tutorial, we're going to be going over the ellipse command and the ellipse arc command. The ellipse command can be invoked by selecting this button in the draw toolbar. Here's ellipse. And the ellipse arc command, also in the draw toolbar, and here it is. You can also get both of these commands right here in the ribbon. Let me click this down. You've got two ways to do an approximate ellipse: center and axis end. This, incidentally, axis end, this is the default for the button. And then the elliptical arc, which is this guy right here, elliptical arc. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to create an approximate ellipse. That's the default on this button, on this command. An approximate ellipse has to have a maximum diameter and a minimum diameter. This is the maximum diameter. This is the minimum diameter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase both the minimum diameter and the maximum diameter words that I have here. Let me get this guy here. And I'm going to use linear dimension to dimension both. This is the maximum diameter. This is the minimum diameter. Now, it's a 4x1 ellipse. 4x1 approximate ellipse. And I'm going to draw one with the ellipse command. I'm going to pick right about here, move over. I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to type in 4 inches. Now, in AutoCAD, you don't enter the entire minimum diameter. You enter half of the minimum diameter. In this case, 0.5. Press enter, and there's the approximate ellipse. Notice that both of them are identical. There is another way to do this. If you click this down and pick center and pick on the screen, now you are measuring from the center. So the maximum diameter, you enter half of it, 2 inches. And the minimum diameter, once again, half, 0.5. And you have another 4x1 ellipse. These are approximate ellipses. Also notice that I can draw it in this direction as well. And I just drew the same ellipse at a 90-degree angle, vertical. So now, these are approximate ellipses. Remember, maximum diameter, minimum diameter. Now I'm going to move to this cube. This is an isometric cube that I've drawn with, these are isometric crosshairs, the center lines, so that we can draw isometric ellipses. And in order to do that, we have to set up our screen for isometric drawing. Click this right here. Pick Snap Settings, and when you get the Drafting Settings dialog box, I need you to come down here, select the radio button for Isometric Snap, put a check mark in 2D Model Space. 2D Model Space, Isometric Snap, and then pick OK. Notice that your grid is not only is it dots, but it's also in an isometric, or it's oriented in isometric, vertical, and these are this is a 30-degree line, matter of fact. More importantly, look at your cursor. It is oriented in isometric. I also want you to notice that if you press function key F5, it will toggle your cursor. So watch the cursor. F5, F5, F5. It is toggling these three center lines. So this one right here is the cursor is following these center lines here. The cursor is following these center lines. The cursor is following these center lines. So to draw elliptical shapes, ellipses, isometric ellipses, using these particular center points, we have to use the cursor toggled to the same, oriented exactly the same. So watch what's going to happen. I'm going to select I'm going to select ellipse. One of the things I want you to notice, when we did approximate ellipses, in the brackets, the options brackets, the only options that we had were arc and center. When you change your screen for isometric drawing, this is added to these options. Iso circle. These are your isometric ellipses. So, in order to draw isometric ellipses, you have to type in I for isometric and press enter. Now, specify the center of the iso circle. I'm going to pick, and notice this is an isometric ellipse. It's not asking you for a maximum diameter. It's not asking you for a minimum diameter. It wants to know the size. I'm going to give it a 1-inch radius for the size. That is an isometric ellipse drawn on this side of the cube. Now, let's talk about these sides. This side right here, and I'm going to toggle my F5 to that side. This side is iso right, isoplane right. Look at the command prompt. It tells you isoplane right. This one, I'm going to toggle again, F5. This is isoplane left, isoplane left. This one, F5, isoplane top, isoplane top. These are the only three ways that you can draw an isometric ellipse. They're either going to be isoplane right, left, or top. So now I'm going to try for an isoplane right ellipse. I'm going to select the ellipse button, get the center again. Note it. Beautiful. I just made a mistake. Now, in my script, I do have this mistake to show you, but I did it without even looking at the script. What I forgot to do was type in I for iso circle. If you forget I for iso circle, you're going to be drawing an approximate ellipse. I'll show you. Pick and pick. Well, that's not an isometric ellipse. That's approximate. So I'm going to get rid of it. Once again, don't make that mistake. You have to select the ellipse button, type in I for iso circle, press enter. Now pick. That's an isometric. This time I'm going to type in the letter D for diameter, press enter. Type in 2, it's going to be a 2-inch diameter ellipse, and there I have drawn it. Now I'm going to move here. I'm going to press function key F5 again, F5 again, until my cursor looks like these center lines. I'm going to go ahead and select ellipse. Type in I for iso circle, press enter. Pick the center. That's the isometric. Type in D again, press enter. It's going to be a 2-inch diameter ellipse, and there it is. I've drawn all three elliptical shapes on the cube. Think of them like drill holes in isometric. An isometric drawing is a pictorial, and these are isometric ellipses. Remember that these are approximate ellipses, isometric ellipses. Approximate ellipses, maximum diameter, minor diameter. Isometric ellipses, you just have to orient them correctly. Isoplane right, left, or top, and then indicate the diameter. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to erase all of these in order to show you ellipse arc. But before I show you ellipse arc, I need to change from the isometric grid that I have on the screen and my cursor back to the rectangular. Come back here, pick, snap settings, rectangular. Change from isometric snap to rectangular snap. Take the check mark off of 2D model space, pick OK, and now you're back in rectangular grid. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick Ellipse Arc. I'm going to pick here. Well, let's pick the center. I'm going to pick down here. I'm going to go 4 inches to the right. And then I'm going to go straight up about there. And now look what it's asking me. It's asking me for the start angle. I'm going to pick here on the right. And I'm drawing an arc coming around to there, and I'm going to stop, and I've just drawn an arc. This comes in handy in architectural for like arcs over doorways and things like that, windows. Now I'm going to select ellipse arc again. I'm going to pick here. I'm going to move this way 4 inches, and I'm going to go up about the same distance that I did before. This time I'm going to select here on the left. I'm going to pick, and there's my arc to there. Now I want you to notice something. Ellipse arc, when I'm using the angles, looks very similar to using the arc command. Let me get rid of these guys. I'm going to pick ellipse arc. I'm going to pick here, move out 4 inches. This is the maximum. Now it's asking me, where do you want me to start the arc? I'm going to say right here. Of course I can give it degrees, but I'm going to say right here. And I'm going to go on the right side, and there I get the arc. In the arch. In the arc command, this would be the dome that you went through in the tutorial. You can't do the bowl. Now I'm going to do ellipse arc again. I'm going to pick 4 inches. Back about the same height. This time I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to pick, and there it is. Both are counterclockwise. There it is. I cannot do the dome. I can't do the arc above. I can do it below. Just like in the arc command, I can do these arches like you were going to be doing them in architectural. The operation would be similar to the arc command when you use ellipse arc. Oops, sorry, ellipse arc. There you go. And that is the ellipse command and the ellipse arc command.